In our urbanized environment, the number of building fires is increasing. In Europe alone, there are 5,000 fires every day, with 11 deaths and 190 hospitalizations. 90% of all fire victims die in fires in buildings. In 1950, the average time from fire ignition to flashover was 15 minutes. Today, fatalities can occur in as little as 3 minutes. But that does not mean we have to live and sleep in fear for our lives. At Knauf Insulation, fire safety is embedded in the very nature of our building solutions. We are committed to improving the fire safety of buildings and the resistance to the potential spread of fire in order to protect people, their belongings and the environment. Let us take a look at the challenges and what we can do to design and build fire-safe building solutions. With the increasing international trend towards energy-efficient building retrofits and new construction to address the decarbonization of buildings, there is increasing pressure on design and construction contracts, costs and labor, often leading to increasing substitution of building products with cheaper alternatives. This has also led to large quantities of different combustible building materials and equipment being introduced into buildings in terms of structure, cladding and most importantly insulation, which represents an increasing amount of material added to existing buildings. Energy-saving facades and roofs contribute significantly to improving the energy efficiency and sustainability of buildings, but combustible types of these components can also introduce additional fire hazards and threaten the safety of buildings and occupants. Even if the additional combustible components are perceived to be energy efficient and eco-friendly, safety must be a priority. Most fire-related deaths are caused by inhalation of the toxic gases produced by fires. Actual flames and burns account for only about 30% of fire-related deaths and injuries. There are already enough safety issues in the design of modern buildings without adding fire risk. Taller construction, lighter and cheaper materials, more underground facilities and larger interior spaces have all contributed to fire and smoke spreading more quickly through a building than in a traditional design many years ago. Then there is always additional risk from poor installation work, occupant activities and the effect of material aging. When it comes to building safety, the only thing that matters is how fire reacts in the real world. Fire safety must be incorporated into building design from the beginning and strictly applied during installation. First, we need to understand in which conditions a fire can occur. A fire is an uncontrolled combustion. There is no fire without fuel, oxygen and a fire source, which can be a high temperature and/or flame. In the case of buildings, almost any material that is in the building or building element is a potential fuel source. Fire codes do not necessarily protect buildings from fires. They are designed to provide a minimum level of safety for people if a fire does occur. We need to take responsibility and strive to do more than just minimum. How can we address this? The issues involved in making a building fire safe are complex and depend on hundreds of factors ranging from the age of a building, its use and location, to its layout, compliance with local regulations and the building materials used. The fire performance of non-combustible building materials or insulation, such as mineral wool, offers the ability of providing passive fire protection. The use of non-combustible materials firstly reduces the possibility of fire and secondly prevents the spread of fire, thus reducing the risk of fire to a minimum. Reaction to fire and fire resistance are two different but very important considerations when designing a building. Reaction to fire describes the combustibility of a material, whether it burns or not, and fire resistance describes how building elements are expected to behave in the event of fire. Fire protection classifications are normally reported in terms of fire resistance, for example 30, 60 or 90 minutes. These classifications relate to what is known as the integrity, thermal insulation and load-bearing capacity of building elements. The ideal approach would be to combine materials with excellent reaction to fire through intelligent system design to achieve excellent fire resistance in a building element. Buildings must be designed and constructed to minimize the risk of fire and its spread if it occurs, as well as to maximize the structure's stability and the ability of occupants to escape unharmed. Therefore, the selection and specification of building materials is an essential part of a robust fire safety strategy. Quality building specifications and material selection can not only minimize building damage, but also save lives. Non-combustible materials such as mineral wool insulation on the interior and exterior of the building not only acts as a passive barrier to fire, but also do not contribute to fire development, minimizing the impact and consequences for the lifetime of the building. It is essential that designers and builders take responsibility for building occupants and incorporate the best possible fire protection solutions. Public pressure and high-profile fires, such as the devastating Notre Dame fire in Paris, the Grenfell tragedy in London, fires in Dubai and the rest of the world have pushed fire safety in buildings high on the national and international agendas. Fire safety regulations are changing all over the world. Particularly when it comes to building energy retrofits, fire safety is often given less importance than energy efficiency, in part because of an unclear hierarchy of legislative requirements. Building fires are a sustainability issue. They can have a huge impact on the short and long-term costs of entire communities and on the lives, health and living comfort of people in or around the buildings. Last but not least, building fires have a negative impact on the local environment in the form of emissions of burning building materials and various pollutions of air, soil and groundwater. Particularly in the case of high-rise buildings or other buildings where evacuation in the event of fire is slow or difficult, such as kindergartens, schools, hospitals or care homes, the real-life risks are too high. The obligation of all builders and designers remains. We must design this risk out of buildings, and that means only permitting non-combustible building materials from the beginning. Knauf Insulation has always been committed to putting fire safety at the heart of buildings and manufactures a wide range of A1 and A2 fire-safe solutions for all building applications, including rock mineral wool and glass mineral wool rolls and boards and Heraclite boards. Rock mineral wool is made mainly from volcanic rocks with an increasing proportion of recycled material from slag. The materials are melted and then spun into fine strands of wool. Their melting temperature is over 1000 degrees Celsius. Glass mineral wool is made mainly from sand and recycled glass. The melted materials are spun into millions of fine wool strands with a melting point of about 650 to 700 degrees Celsius. Our non-combustible solutions do not contribute to the spread of fire or increase the temperature in case of fire and do not produce smoke or burning droplets. They offer the best performance in terms of both reaction to fire and fire resistance. They reduce the likelihood of fire occurring, maintain structural integrity, and limit the spread of fire and smoke from one area to another, ensuring safe evacuation of occupants and providing safe areas for firefighters during an intervention. Our solutions are used on the interior and exterior of buildings, in various types of facades, roofs, partition and external walls, floors, ceilings, doors, chimneys, HVAC systems, sandwich panels and more. We understand the importance of properly installing these products and systems to ensure their full performance and fire protection potential. That's why we offer professional lessons and training for installers at our experience and training centers.
At Knauf Insulation, We understand the importance of designing the fire risk out of the buildings. This is a major goal that can be achieved by making the right considerations at the right moment during the development of the project. We are by your side to ensure the successful realization of the project design, ensuring the highest levels of fire safety.
Let us work together to make our environment energy efficient, comfortable, sustainable, and healthy by using proven, non-combustible, sustainable building materials and solutions. To keep people and buildings comfortable and, most importantly, safe for a better world.